You have crossed the line. Okay, you haven't. But today we're going to talk about setting boundaries for yourself at work as a new manager. Welcome to my channel, Leadership with Mike. On this channel, I help new managers become better leaders, and I do that with no nonsense sense, if that makes any sense. As a new manager, it is very important for you to set boundaries. Whether you've recently been promoted or you've recently gotten a new position, setting boundaries is hard, but it's going to be at its easiest when you are new, because as rules are being made about you and your position, you're able to have the most influence on how people interact with you, whether that be your boss, your staff, or clients that you work with. When you set boundaries, reasonable boundaries, you come across as somebody with confidence, somebody with a backbone, and someone who is professional. Now, what kind of boundaries are we setting? We're setting boundaries in terms of, are you expected to answer emails when you're not at work? Are you expected to have the phone ready to go? How do your staff talk to you? What tone are they able to use? Are you okay if people swear around you? See, the type of leader that I am, I'm very, sometimes I'm a little rough around the edges. I would say the guy's guy. I can have a professional conversation without question. But in the environments that I've worked with, there's a thing called shop talk. F-bombs are constant, and I'm good with that. So long as the tone behind it is positive. So long as I know there is a mutual respect. So let's get into first setting your boundaries. How are we going to go about this? Here's the first thing. You need to know your values. Like, who are you? What is important to you? Like I said, I am a guy's guy. I can really flow with a lot of things, a lot of different personalities. But what's very important to me is that when I am not at work, I'm not at work. I place a lot of value on being home, on having time with my family, on not being interrupted when they are to have my full attention. So for me, a boundary would be, outside of an emergency, don't call me. I'm not picking up the emails when I'm with my family. Now, if I find that the role that I have, it might be easier when the kids have gone to bed and I'm just kind of, enjoying time on the couch. Maybe I could get into some emails if I feel that that was better for my work week coming. But for the most part, leave me alone. This ties into my second point, is that it's communication. You need to communicate with your team or the team above you what is acceptable. Now, when I say what is acceptable, I'm not telling you go to your boss and say, boss, this is unacceptable for you to do this and that and the other thing on your first day of hire. When I say unacceptable, this is something that in your mind, in your soul, it's not acceptable. So you're not advertising it to everybody like, this is unacceptable, I am higher than you. No, you just have to determine this in your mind and with who you are and how it relates to your life. And then you communicate it in a manner that's not so abrasive as, this is unacceptable behavior. This is unacceptable. You're crossing boundaries. Again, a lot of stuff that we talk about on this channel in terms of being a manager and being a leader, most of it comes down to how you communicate, how you say things, not what you say. So communicate with those around you as to what is acceptable. Is it okay to call you when you're not at work? I can't answer that for you. Is it okay for them to send emails? Is it okay for you to send emails? I was talking with a good friend. They had a boss that would send emails on the weekend, but the boss was very clear that this is a time that works for me. This is not a time that you have to reply. You're on the weekend. It's your time. I'm sending it because it's best for me. You reply when it's time for you to reply. It's not on a Saturday at 2 o'clock when you got the barbecue and the family and that's a very clear communication as to this is my style, but I'm not expecting this from you. So see how there was a boundary set and an expectation. So somebody crosses the boundary. Somebody crosses the line. What are you going to do? Here's what I recommend is you call it out immediately. When we have boundaries and people overstep them, sometimes they don't know and sometimes they don't think. So if you don't course correct and now this person does it again and does it again and it becomes the norm. And now what happens is you get into an awkward situation where you're going to have a blowout because somebody is not respecting your boundaries. But it's not totally their fault. You need to address when a boundary has been crossed, you need to address it. Let's say swearing, for example. Maybe swearing in your office is not allowed. It is very disrespectful. Again, different environments have different tones and languages that we use. Or words, maybe not languages, but the words can't be used in some places. So if you are someone who is very upset if people use the F word around you, that's a boundary, and that's a fair request for people not to use the F word around you. And I would argue that it's actually very professional, which kind of puts you at a, without saying anything, it kind of puts you a step up. Like I need to talk to Mike in a certain language, in a certain tone, with certain words not in my vocabulary, because he's not my friend. He's not my buddy. He is my boss. So even though I dropped the ball on that one, I get it. So if somebody is using the F word in your presence, it is okay for you to call them out. Not in the group. I mean, maybe give them the eye, like that parental eye, like I'm going to beat your ass if you keep this up. Don't make me make a scene. But when everybody's dispersed or you have a moment, say, John, can I speak to you for a second? I really don't appreciate the language. If we could just keep that to a minimum, or with your peers, whatever, however you feel the best way to communicate. Again, sometimes the way I say things, I'm not telling you to say it the exact same way because we're different people. I am okay being a little bit rough. I'm okay being known as a little bit of a jerk because as people get to know me, they realize, one, I can be a jerk to everybody. And because I do my best to show trust and respect, it comes back to me. So I can only be true to myself. That's my boundary. I'm okay with that. And I will work it around other people's boundaries. So set yours and call it out if it's been crossed. To build on that, I would also highly recommend you clarify what's being asked of you or said to you. Maybe there's a boundary of, work being put on your desk and it's too much for you. You don't want to whine to your boss and say, well, I can't do this. This is too much and it's stress. It may be stressing you out, but clarify why you're getting the assignment. Why it's, when is the deadline? You need clarification. And if it is something that you've determined has crossed a boundary, it's fair to make note of that, to bring it to the person's attention. But you always want to have clarity as to why this is coming to you in the manner that it is. Because last thing you want to do is fly off the deep end and then realize it was actually a miscommunication, or it was, assigned to you for the wrong reasons or whatnot, or there was an emergency. Again, get clarification before you go and have these discussions. Okay, my most important point in terms of setting boundaries is you need to treat people the way you want to be treated. If you want to be spoken to in a certain manner, then that's the manner you should be showing people. If you want respect, give respect. These are things that I hope that you've learned through some of my videos, is that respect, trust, integrity, give it to people right away. Assume they have it. Don't make people earn your trust. Don't make them earn your respect. Give it to them freely right from the get. Even if you know somebody, but now you've been promoted, give them the trust, give them the respect. Your role has changed, therefore your relationship has changed, and you need to allow people the opportunity to step up to the level of trust and respect that you've given them. What they can do is they can give you reasons that you take it away, but never make them earn it, not from the beginning. That said, I hope you enjoyed the video. I'm going to grab my coffee, and I'm going to see you in the next one. Ciao.